East, back here with you on SportsCenter as time ticks off the countdown clock to the NBA trade deadline. Several teams were making changes to their rosters today, including the Cavs. Sources telling Shamsu Rani that Cleveland is set to acquire James Harden from the Clippers in exchange for Darius Garland and a second-round draft pick. Now, this will be Harden's sixth team during his 17-year career, and it's the fourth time he switched teams in the last 5 years alone.
Celtics also made some moves. They have landed Nikola Vucevic in a trade with the Bulls. It's Vucevic in exchange for Anthony Simons and a second-round pick. Say what you want about positions in the NBA, but the Celtics have lacked experience when it comes to the man at center. There was also this news today. Jaren Jackson is on his way to Utah as part of an 8-player multi-pick trade between the Grizzlies and the Jazz. He's been averaging just shy of 20 points and 6 rebounds per game this season. You said his name a second ago, and then by the magic of TV, Sean
just pops up.
Shows back up again. Let's talk about the Grizzlies, because obviously we were expecting them to make moves. I think Ja has been at the top of that. What does the Jaren Jackson trade mean for Ja's future?
Yeah, Nicole, it's the strip down. It is the rebuild that we're seeing right now in Memphis. Last summer, they traded Desmond Bane for 4 first-round picks. Today, Jaren Jackson Jr. for 3 first-round picks, and Walter Clayton, who was a first-round pick last year in the draft. So now Ja Morant, they've been fielding interest, entertaining offers for the better part of the last month, and they're going to continue to do so between now and Thursday's NBA trade deadline. The one thing to keep an eye on, though, is they've got a ton of draft capital now. They've got a dozen picks. They've got as many first-round picks, swaps, seconds as any team in the league, including Oklahoma City and Brooklyn now. So what do they do with that moving forward? They also created a $28.8 million trade player exception, the largest in NBA history. The one element here to keep an eye on between now and the trade deadline is with Ja Morant, they are, I think, more willing to take on some bad salaries in a Ja Morant deal if it means getting back assets because of the flexibility they now have with Jaren Jackson and his big time money off their books.
So if you have that many draft picks and that much cap space for an exception, you can go out there around the draft, free agency period. Like, you have time to go out and do some things, right? All right, so again, the one guy everyone's been waiting for is Giannis.
The domino.
He is the domino.
The entire NBA
but all these other moves have sort of trickled out, and you didn't know if, like, maybe Giannis had to do one move for everyone to move. But where does he stand right now as we're, 48 hours from the trade deadline?
Giannis, the entire NBA, they're waiting to see what Milwaukee ownership and John Horst do at this deadline. Giannis Antetokounmpo has made it clear and communicated to those that need to know in Milwaukee, from my understanding, that he believes it's time for both sides to move on and to part ways. Now, Milwaukee's been sifting through offers, aggressive offers from teams. They've submitted some counter offers as well. Heat, Warriors, New York, Miami. Those are the teams that we're looking at here. But between now and Thursday, will an offer reach the plateau where Milwaukee can look and say we're willing and ready to part with our 2-time MVP, or do you take it into the offseason? Giannis, to my understanding, is prepared either way this goes. But next summer, this upcoming summer, Giannis is going to be 1 year removed from entering free agency. That means he will have a lot of say-so and power in where he could end up.
And right now, you said this yesterday, it's like an amicable situation there right now with
they're
Giannis
cool.
and the team. They're cool.
But they just want to get something.
Now when you're talking to teams, when you're talking to people around the NBA, do you get a sense of what people think will happen? Will he go now, or will it be next summer?
I think everyone can agree that the writing is on the wall here with the Bucks.
Oh, he's going to go at
Giannis.
some point.
And the question is just, will Milwaukee, their ownership, their front office, will they get there? Because what you have to think about is, are we going to get better offers in the summer than we are going to get now? Now, you might marginally get maybe one extra first-round pick. You might end up getting a couple second-round picks in the offseason. But the second half of the year, Giannis will want to play. They are probably positioning toward, trying to position for the draft pick. So there's a lot of conflicting things right now internally there in Milwaukee.
I would think the rest of the league is like, man, would y'all go ahead and get it over with so we can get on the rest of our business as well?
Exactly.
Because everybody waiting on y'all.
Yep.
Right? Shams, appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
All right.
Burden though now.
Yeah, as we mentioned, no stranger to trades, right? After being drafted by OKC and spending his first 3 seasons there with the Thunder, they traded him to the Rockets in 2012. He went on to play 9 seasons in Houston, and then the Rockets were the longest stop of his career because he was an all-star every season. He won an MVP, and then in 2021, he was traded to Brooklyn, where he hooked up with Kevin Durant, That reunion, though,
That was short-lived.
it didn't last long because after a year there, he gets traded to the Sixers. He reached the Eastern Conference semis with Philly twice, but that's as far as they could go in a very short-lived era. And then guess what? He was in Philly about as long as he was in Brooklyn, because in 2023 they moved Harden to the Clippers as part of a 3-team trade. Now, they made the playoffs in his first 2 seasons, but both were first-round exits. And now, traded again. This time, Clippers again, sending him to Cleveland. He's going to pair up with Donovan Mitchell, a Cavs team that's right now 5th in the Eastern Conference standings. All right, so Iman Shumpert joins us once again here on SportsCenter. So when I tell you that James Harden is going to Cleveland, what's the first thing that pops into your mind?
Well, the first thing that pops into my mind is you now have 2 ball-dominant guys pairing up again. And though they're high-powered, I've seen, sometimes it doesn't go as we think it's going to go when you have 2 ball-dominant guys. I think the one thing that I left out earlier when I was discussing James Harden with the potential of him going to the Cavs is how much better he makes your bigs. James Harden is tremendous in a pick and roll. He's tremendous with passing the ball to his big. He usually finds his favorite one that can catch lobs around the rim. That takes away a lot of the help options that you try and bring to him when he goes to his ISO. So he definitely adds something offensively. It's just the initial defensive hit that they're going to hit. I can't ignore it, and in the playoffs, that's what they need. That's what pushed them far. So it's going to be interesting to see what type of rhythm they can get in with that backcourt.
I get the impression you don't like the trade. It's a decade, so the Clippers get younger. When you look at style of play there, how does Darius Garland fit in with Kawhi?
I really like it. I don't think it adds anything for right now. I don't see this team right away igniting and then making a huge playoff run, but I do see that getting somebody that's younger and getting somebody that can get downhill, get to his shot, a willing passer and willing to learn and willing to grow. I think Darius Garland, with some of the injury woes this season, he might have needed some fresh air, who knows? But now that he's back in a rhythm, I think he's one of those exciting players that fits well in LA. So I'm excited to see how it goes. He's going to be playing next to Kawhi Leonard, who's been a proven champion, as well as just a proven decision maker down the stretch, and he's going to grow a lot from being in that role.
All right, for those of you who just joined us as we approach the top of the hour here on SportsCenter, Briscoe and Eves joined by Iman Shumpert. Big news out of the NBA. James Harden going to Cleveland in exchange for Darius Garland and a second-round draft pick. Iman, let me ask you this. Let me go back to James Harden for a second, because as I mentioned, he's now switched teams 4 times in 5 years. And every place he's been, it was supposed to be something, and it fell short every single time. Now, look, I know that a lot of guys don't care so much about legacy, and I'm not sure how much James cares about how people perceive his career. But let me ask you this. From a player standpoint, when you think of James Harden's time in the league, it's almost, 16, 17 years now, how would you define his overall career?
Well, I'll say this. He's got a hell of a resume.